How's it going, boys? Akron here. Today I wanted to talk about plugins that I can't live without. So I have a little list here of all the plugins that I've either recently discovered or have been using for years and really don't think I could live without. So let's get into the video. First up on the list, I think it's a given, but Kiloheart's Faceplant. Faceplant is a multi-award-winning semi-modular soft synth developed for music producers and sound designers. With a unique combination of top-quality processing, creative freedom, and intuitive workflow, you will be creating amazing patches in no time. Explore limitless combinations of generators, modulators, and effects to discover and refine your own original sound. Okay, so why is this plugin on my list? So I would say this is probably my favorite plugin for basses. I mainly use it in dubstep. I think it can be used in any genre, and I think it has the flexibility to pretty much literally do anything, which is a big reason why I use it. I think overall, this is kind of my workhorse synth. I can pretty much throw anything at it and know that I'll be able to do something with it. It just has every single effect that you might need. My favorite effects in it are disperser, saturator. Overall, I think it's one of the best synths. I use it literally in every song. Like I'm pulling up a project right now and what do you know? Faceplant, right? Overall, it's a really simple synth to use once you get familiar with the interface. And I think a lot of these plugins on my list are there because I like them and they're simple to use. So that's plan. Next up, one of my other synths that I literally could not live without is Serum. So Serum is kind of my jack of all trades synth. There's pretty much nothing that I can throw at it that I don't think it'll be able to handle. Now, I will say that it has a very specific sound, which is kind of why I deviated from using Serum as much and switched over to Faceplant a lot for basses, at least for my dubstep stuff. I think for a lot of my other stuff, I still use a lot of Serum, but for dubstep, I find that Faceplant gives me a particular sound that I have a harder time making with Serum. Next on the list, this is a newer one that I got. It's Arturia's Pigments. I still haven't really found exactly where it sits within my workflow. So far, I'm thinking mostly intros because it has a lot of capabilities for that. Pigments is a soft synth VST with the power to create any sound, from the best mix-ready modern preset to deep custom sound design. Explore every shade of synthesis and make your wildest sonic fantasy full color reality, whatever your style. Good product description, honestly. I haven't had quite the time that I would like to dive super deep into it, but I think it's one of those synths where, almost like Serum and Faceplant, you really do have the ability to do anything in it, and I think that's super cool. It's definitely more tuned towards retro, but you can definitely make a lot of modern sounds on it. It has a really nice sequencer, an arpeggiator. It's got like you can sample in it very well. Got wavetable synthesis. It's got analog synthesis. Like it kind of has everything, which is amazing, and that's kind of why I've adopted it in my arsenal, I guess. So the three synths that I would say I use the most is Analog Lab, Faceplant, and Serum. So those three are pretty much in every single project that I've ever made for the last 3 to 5 years, essentially. Analog Lab, create, produce, perform. Analog Lab is a plugin that combines thousands of world-class presets spanning dozens of timeless instruments, instant access, controls, and flawless integration in one place. This has something like 5,000 presets. So it has all of these different instruments that are mostly older synths that cost 10K each and you will probably never get your hands on. So this is kind of a shortcut. It has a lot of presets from the V collection, which is something I'm really looking forward to purchasing eventually. It's kind of pricey, which is kind of why I have Analog Lab for the moment. And I have some other plugins that I'd rather purchase first. If you're eyeballing the V collection and you don't necessarily know how to design your own patches, I would recommend this highly. And honestly, most of the presets are more than usable, and a lot of them will spark weird ideas. So many of my intros kind of start with Analog Lab because you'll just scroll through the plugins and fall on something that you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then you'll write an entire intro out of it. I don't know. It's super cool. If you're looking for a synth that'll help you make really interesting intros, I would say Analog Lab is the synth to get. So next up, we have Voxengo Span. And this is just a spectrum analyzer. It's nothing too sexy, nothing too fun. Just helps me whenever I'm mixing and mastering reference tracks. Like I'll usually put one of these on a track that I'm really liking at the moment and then I like the mix of, and then try and line it up with my track. It's very helpful for that. It also like lets me see stuff in the mix, say if there's like weird resonances. Sometimes I want those, but sometimes I don't want those. And I see them and I can be like, oh, okay, there's a peak at like, I don't know, 1K, and it's not my snare clap, right? So then I try and go in my mix, figure out what's going on and like how I could fix it. Another kind of more boring plugin. This one I got recently because I was looking for a loudness meter, but I was just looking for a free one. Found this one works really well. It's called Youlean Loudness Meter 2. It just helps you kind of know if you're mastering stuff too loud. Next up, Fabfilter Pro Q3. Fabfilter Pro Q3 is a top quality EQ plugin with perfect analog modeling, dynamic EQ, linear phase processing, and a gorgeous interface with unirival ease of. So yeah, Pro Q3, I think this is another given. This is probably the best EQ plugin that you can have, honestly. I haven't encountered a plugin that does anything close to what Pro Q3 does, and that's truly amazing. Its ease of use is just unparalleled, fucking amazing. But this is a super useful tool for mixing, and I would highly recommend it if you're looking to invest in an EQ that's better than the Ableton EQ or any EQ that you have stock in your DAW. So honorable mentions now. So there's 4 plugins on this list, and these are plugins that I don't quite use enough to make it on the plugins that I would absolutely need to produce pretty much every day. Some of them are just stuff that I very recently got, like within the last month, so I don't feel super comfortable recommending them as for sure buys yet, but they're well on their way there. So the first one is Baby Audio Crystalline. Now, I'm still running the trial for this, and so far it's been going amazing. So make space for lushness. Crystalline is a new state-of-the-art reverb plugin with a pristine and modern sound. Gives you unprecedented creative control to shape your sound, shape your reflections. Lets you sync reverb and start and decay time to your song's tempo. An evolution of classic 20th century studio reverbs fully upgraded for today. The reason why I run this reverb has a lot to do with its interface. I think the way its UI is designed is so simplistic, and that's what I love, because reverb is one of those things where I don't like to spend a whole lot of time on it. The faster I can get my idea down or what I need down, the more I can focus on the rest of the stuff. Reverb is very important, but it's not something that I want to spend like an hour on, like a bass patch, right? And it's not to say that your stock reverb plugins aren't that good. I think most of them are pretty good. But there's like a lot of settings that could be simplified. Baby Audio Crystalline seems to just have managed to figure all of that stuff out. I'm never wondering what a setting does, because either it's written or it has this little picture that kind of gives me an idea of what it's doing. So Baby Audio Crystalline, I would recommend it. It's $100. Or you could also get the trial, which allows you to test it out for a few days. I don't think there's a time limit on the trial, but it just mutes the audio for 5 seconds every minute. So yeah, you actually do get to try this out, and I think if you try this reverb, you're going to buy it. I'm gonna be honest, because there's no other reverb that is this simple. I was trying out the Valhalla reverbs, and I think Vintage Verb sounds amazing, but I would rather use this just because it's so simple. This is another recent addition, but it's a free plugin, and I think it's amazing. So Baby Audio's Baby Come Back. Baby Come Back is a free delay plugin developed in collaboration between Baby Audio and Computer Music Magazine. It offers a stripped-down version of our award-winning Comeback Kid delay plugin. Baby Come Back gives you onboard ducker for cleaning up your delays when a dry signal is playing, as well as 4 modes: wide, analog, saucy, and cheap. The simplest delay that still does everything you need: ducking, feature, color modes, blah blah blah. This is honestly my favorite delay plugin that I found recently. It's so simple to use. It's got everything that you would need from a modern reverb. This is, again, Baby Audio just has nailed how to make simple UIs and simple interfaces for you to just get stuff done, because I think that's so important. The less you have to think about how to work your plugin, the more creative you can be with it. And Baby Come Back is amazing for that. And it's kind of why I don't use, since I got it, any other delay, because I'm just like, no, I don't care. I just want to use something really simple. The interface is really nice to look at. And for me, that's kind of all that matters. Plugin has to be simple to use and have a decent enough interface. And Baby Audio has nailed it, their interfaces. They look all so pretty. Baby Audio is really doing things right with their plugin interfaces and UI. And I'm probably going to buy their bundle, because I'm going to wait to buy the entire bundle, because Crystalline's $100, or you could buy their bundle for, I think, 200, something like that. So at that point, just buy the bundle. Why not? You get a ton of other plugins that I haven't had a chance to try out. I definitely will. Next up, so this is another one where I haven't really had the time to fully dive super deep into this plugin, but I'm going to mention it anyways as an honorable mention, and Fabfilter Saturn 2. A crush on music. Distortion and saturation play a very important role in music production. From subtle, clean, and warm tube or tape saturation to wildest multiband guitar amp effects, Fabfilter Saturn 2 delivers. Saturn 2 introduces a host of new features such as redesigned interfaces with modulation, visualization, new subtle saturation and linear phase processing for mastering, many new distortion styles, and more. Now, the thing that makes this special over a lot of other saturation plugins is the ability to divide your sound into different frequency range. I think you can do up to 5, but I'm not entirely sure on that. But I usually do 3, but it's so amazing to be able to distort your high end differently than you would distort your mid range, right? And it seems like such a given. Right now I'm still running the trial for a lot of Fabfilter stuff. It's kind of pricey, but I think that Pro Q3 and Saturn 2, super worth it. I would definitely invest a lot of money in those because totally worth it. I would recommend getting some of the bundles for sure. So the mixing bundle is how many US dollars? So it's $619 US. It has Pro Q3, Pro R, Pro C, Pro DS. I'd recommend this bundle or the mastering bundle, because if you're gonna buy, oh, but this doesn't have Saturn. Okay, because my recommendations are like Pro Q3 and Saturn for sure. I haven't used the Pro C too much. Actually looking at another compressor. I won't mention it in this video because I literally got it yesterday, but I'm looking into a different one. I've got like a free trial for it. I'm gonna talk more about it in a different video. But it's very nice, simple to use, using AI technology, which is pretty cool, but that'll be for a different video. That's pretty much all I have for like Saturn. And then the last honorable mention, Sonic Sounds Kick 2. Now, the reason why this is an honorable mention is I don't actually make kicks that much. This is the easiest way to make kicks. This is plain and simple. It's just the easiest way that I found to make kicks. It's pretty cheap. It's like 50 euros, which I don't know how much it is in US. I don't think there is a difference, because in all the other plugin manufacturers that I checked, they didn't seem to adjust the price if I changed it to dollars. So 50 US, which is pretty nice. It gives you a lot of flexibility to make, obviously, kicks. You can also make snares. I don't know if you can make claps in it. Maybe. You have like full creative freedom to make kicks in one plugin. And again, user interface, really nice, simple to use. And there's also a ton of tutorials on it if you don't know how to make kicks already. People have made tutorials on it, which I think also helps a product, right? I think that's why sometimes Faceplant's a bit harder to recommend than Serum, because Faceplant doesn't have this wider community of people who have made a lot of videos on it. There's some really good stuff, but there's less, right? I think if you want some good Faceplant tutorials, go check out Nasco. Faceplant first came out, he made a ton of videos. I also think Faceplant has amazing presets. Like, they actually got people like Kill the Noise, Nasco. I don't know who else made presets for it, but I know a lot of big name producers made presets for Faceplant. Anyways, so yeah, that's pretty much the video. I'm really happy. I've been looking into different plugins. I've been mostly in the box for pretty much since I started, apart from like Faceplant, Serum, and Analog Lab. I've mostly done everything in the box, but I'm kind of branching out a little bit and exploring third-party plugins. And I think it's actually had a pretty big impact on my music. And it's kind of why I wanted to make a video about the plugins that I don't think I could live without. Because I think you can go a really long way without these plugins. But I think at a certain point, like I'm 5 years deep into this, and at a certain point, it's not necessarily that you're limited, but there's just like nice quality of life things that you might want to have. A really easy to use reverb or a really easy to use delay, just like stuff that just take up more time than they should. And that's kind of what a lot of my honorable mentions are and general plugins is just stuff that helps me get shit done quicker. I really hope you enjoyed. I'm going to leave links to all of these plugins. Some of these are going to be affiliate and some not. So if you buy anything on their website, I'm going to get a little kickback, which is kind of nice for me. And yeah, it costs nothing to you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you end up buying hopefully one of these plugins and really enjoy it, and it changes how you make music. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Akron, and I will catch you in the next one.